Hey puzzlers, this is Steven here with another video on how to solve some logic puzzles. This one's known as a country road. How it works is you're going to be drawing a single continuous non-intersecting loop through the grid, and this loop must visit each region exactly once. Numbers in the region indicate how many cells within the region are going to be touched by the loop. If there is no number, then the loop may touch any number of cells. Untouched cells cannot be orthogonally adjacent across different regions. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but I promise it'll make more sense once we get to solving this. Now, I've pulled this particular puzzle from a recently published book on Amazon. I'll post the link in the description below. Would love it if you guys would check it out. Had a lot of fun making the book. Hopefully you guys have a lot of fun solving the puzzles. Now, I will solve this and hopefully share some common tips and tricks that'll hopefully help you solve them yourself in the future. Now, the first thing I like to do with loop-based puzzles is mark cells that I know are going to be part of the loop. You don't need to know particularly the direction the loop is going to head in, because that will become more evident later in the puzzle, but knowing that it's going to hit a particular cell is extremely helpful. A good place to start here in this puzzle are these two-celled regions with the two clue. Those are going to be easy. You know the loop's going to touch both of those cells like that. Easy peasy. The one cell region up here, or this one clue for this large region, is interesting because we know it can never touch this cell, right? For the loop to touch that cell, it would have to touch more than one cell in the region. So that's not going to work. Same thing with this cell here, right? If the line were to come in, it would have to escape in such a way that it would touch another cell. So that's no good. And same thing here. You would have to enter or exit that way, and you know, if you enter the region this way, you cannot exit without touching this cell or that cell, and you break the one clue. And so we can X that one out. Now, what makes the country road puzzle unique is the rule saying that untouched cells cannot be orthogonally adjacent to one another. So what that means is this is an untouched cell in one region adjacent to another cell in a region across from it. That means this has to be part of the loop, right? Otherwise you'd have two untouched cells crossing a border, and that's no good. Same thing here. We know this has to be part of the loop because that is untouched. So that's interesting because this has created a corner. Now, if you're familiar with loop puzzles, we'll do a corner down here. If you hit a corner, you're going to hit three cells like that. It's going to create that elbow. So whenever you have a corner like this, where it can't go up, can't go left, you know it's going to create an elbow like that. And now this 2 in the corner, this 2 clue is interesting because if we think about this corner, if we hit the corner like that, we've entered this 7-celled region, and we're going to have to enter it too many times because we've hit 2 cells here. We wouldn't be able to continue to go down. We'd have to turn, and now we've entered it twice, and wherever we exit, that's going to be a third point of contact. You could only enter each region once and exit once. Here, we've entered it too many times or exited it too many times. So you can only have 2 points of contact on a border. Here we have too many, so that does not work. And the other way, you know, if you say, oh, you know, if you don't want to exit because we've already have 2 points of contact, well, you'd have to close the loop, and you can't have a premature closed loop. So that doesn't work. So that's a long-winded just way of saying that this cannot be part of the loop. Since it's a 2-celled region, there's only 2 areas left. Those have to be part of the loop. This is an untouched cell adjacent to another cell in another region, meaning this has to be part of the loop, right? Because otherwise you can't have 2 untouched cells across a border like that. So this has to be part of the loop, and that's a little corner. Again, can't go up, can't go right, so you have to go in the opposite directions like that. And this is a corner here, can't go up, can't go right, so you have to come to the left. And we, in this 7-celled region, already have an entrance and an exit, so this can't go into that region there. It's going to have to come down. And now once you enter a region, the loop has to touch all the cells before it exits. And so there's 5 cells that need to be touched. So you wouldn't be able to go down this way. That wouldn't work. Right? So you're going to have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're going to have to exit either up or over. It can't go down. That would be the 6th cell. So that's X'd out. And this is X'd out. And now what we can do is we could put a circle in the adjacent cells that are in different regions. So just like that. And that's helpful because now we've kind of have these corners here. This cell with the circle, we know it can't go up, otherwise it'd intersect with the loop, and it can't go left because it would run into that X. So it has to go in the opposite directions. And same thing here. This is a nice little corner, so it has to come down. And now this 5-celled region, the loop has to touch all 5 of those cells. So it's either going to go like that, or it's going to go like that. We can tell it's not going to go this way because we're going to run into a problem where does this loop end go now? It can't go into this region because we'd have too many entrances, right? You would have, this would be just horrible. 1, 2, 3 points of contact, or right, it would close the loop prematurely. So we know this doesn't continue that way, and it can't go down either because this loop end is going to go into that region, right? Something like that, and that you can't close the loop that way. You can't have it exit this way. That doesn't work. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's too many points of contact. So again, very long-winded way of saying that this does not work that direction. It has to go in the other direction like that. Can't go up, so it must go left. This is a 1-celled region, or a 2-celled region with a 1 clue, so we know that that is an X. And then we can put a circle in the orthogonally adjacent cells that are in different regions. We know this circle here is in a corner, so we can draw that little elbow that we know. And now this region has to have 6 cells touched before it leaves. So it just so happens 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it exits. It can't come down here because that would be too many cells. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it would exit. That'd be too much. So it has to go like that. Now we know these are not part of the loop, right? And with this X being adjacent to another cell in another region, we know that's part of the loop. Now it creates a corner, so we can do that. The loop has to pass through this circle before exiting this region, right? It can't go out and then back in. You'd have 1, 2, 3, too many points of contact. So we know it goes like that. Now we don't know if it continues up or exits. That we're not quite sure yet. Oh, this region's complete, right? We've already solved that. Oops. So we have these 2 X's bordering another region. So those have to be circles. So we touch all of those. Now this can't go down, otherwise we'd close the loop prematurely. So it has to turn. That forces the 5 to connect with the 2 there. And where would I look now? Well, this 2 region here, we know this is going to be part of it because you can't have it be those 2, you know, and that one be an X. That wouldn't work. Again, remember, once you enter a region, the loop is going to have to touch all the cells it's supposed to touch before it exits. So either way, it's going to be those 2 or those 2, but either way, it has to go, through this middle cell. I'm not sure how helpful that is, though. Oh, you know what? This loop end here, we know has to go down. And the reason for that, if it goes to the, well, it can't go right, there's an X there. If it goes left, this region here now has 2 points of contact, or an entrance and an exit. And so it'd have to close it, and then we would trap this loop end. And then where would this go? So that doesn't work. So it has to go down. Oh, you know, this cell here is not part of the loop, right? Because we already have one entrance, and it's going to exit somewhere up here, right? This loop end either is going to go up and exit this way, or this way, or this way, or this way. So we can't enter this region anymore. So that's an X, which means, oops, these two cells, which are orthogonally adjacent to it, crossing a border, those have to be part of the loop. And those are both corners, right? And so whenever we have a corner, right, this can't go right, can't go down, so it has to go in the opposite directions. And then same here, this is a corner. So we can do that. And now this is a 6 clue, and we've hit 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 2 more, so it's either going to be 5, 6, these two, or 5, 6, those two, or 5, 6, these two, but it can never be this cell. That would be too many, right? There's no way to reach this cell within 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No way you can reach this cell. So that's an X. And then we could put a circle in the 2 orthogonally adjacent cells that cross the border. Let's see. Oh, you know what? This can't connect here, because this cannot exit until it fulfills the 6th clue. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it needs to touch 2 more cells before it exits. So it can't exit there. So this has to keep going forward. And I don't think it can exit here either, because that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That wouldn't work. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it exits that way. So it can't exit here either, right? This can't go this way. So this has to continue going forward. Let's think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. I'm thinking how if these circles can help in any way. I think they can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. Thinking 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Dang. Maybe they're not helpful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. No, I'm not quite sure how these 2 circles are helpful in any way. Oh, you know, yeah, it is helpful. Well, maybe not this circle in general, but let's think about this loop end. If it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes this way, it's forced to then exit into that region. And that's going to cause a problem, because this loop end has to exit into this 8 region. And now all of a sudden this loop end is going to close in on itself, right? Well, no matter how this enters the 8 region, we have 1 point of entrance, 1 point of exit, and they'd have to connect with one another. You can only have 2 points of contact within a region's border. So this loop end from the 6th clue cannot go into the 8, since this will be that one. So what that tells me is that this cell can't be part of it, right? Because for this to be hit, it either has to come up like that, and then again, it would only be able to enter the 8 region, or like that and enter the 8 region. That wouldn't work. So this is not part of it, which makes that now in on it. And now this cell can't be touched by the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then where would the loop go? It's trapped, and it hasn't fulfilled the 6th clue yet. So this is an X, making that a circle, and we have to hit that from here. So that goes up like that, making this is a dead end here. There's no way the loop can go right. Like let's say the loop goes that way, it would have no way to exit. So that's a dead end, that's a dead end. And this 6 is now satisfied by going up like that. Let's think about let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I suppose it could go like this and touch that top corner. Or it could come like this. Yeah, not sure how helpful this is right now. Bear with me here 1 minute while I try to figure out what the next move is. I think if this comes down, I think this has to enter into the 8 region. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it can't enter here, because we'd run into a problem. 1, 2, yeah, because if the loop started there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, this wouldn't work, because that would be a dead end. There's no way to solve the 8 there, so it can't enter there. And if it enters this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, that's fine. So that would work. So again, not the most helpful. Let's see, if this goes up, it has to hit the circle, because it can't go up here. There's not enough to hit 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think that's going to work, because if we do it this way, yeah, see, if you go up into that region, what you're going to see, if you kind of envision following my mouse cutting this grid in half, these loop ends are going to connect. There's no other way, right? Because if this loop end somehow connects with this loop end, you've isolated this one, and vice versa. If you have this loop end connect with that loop end, you've isolated this one. And so that's a long-winded way of saying this cannot go up there. So it has to come over like that. If we think about this 6-celled region, I think no matter what, these 4 are going to be involved, right? If we think about this opposite extreme, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I suppose you can skip that. Well, no, I don't. You can't enter the 8 region this way, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the first. This cell has to be in the 8 region no matter what. right? Because at the most extreme, it could enter down here. 1, 2, it has to hit these. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is always in. And from the opposite extreme, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you know what? These all have to be part of it. These two we're not sure, right? Because it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these two we're not sure, those two we're not sure. But we know the loop has to do this. We just don't know if it bends this way or if it goes that way. That's got to be helpful, right? Some way. Think about this corner here. If we hit that corner, it would hit these two, and then it would have to exit and connect that way. So if it hits this cell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 could go up, hit the 2, oh, and then you isolate this one region, right? So we hit this corner. This can't go left. It would breach this region too many times. It'd have to go to the right and connect there. So then there's no way to touch the one region there or there. It'd have to be this region, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to hit the one up there. Yeah, how would you then touch this one? Yeah, that's not going to work. Not sure if I explained that well enough for you guys, but point is, this cannot be part of it. So therefore, that has to be part of it. If that's not part of it, this adjacent one has to be. That's a corner, so we know that. These two have to connect. This cannot be part of the loop anymore. Reason for it, well, maybe it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I guess it could. This I don't think this can go to the right. The reason for it, if it goes to the right, comes down. So then this, yeah, that's not going to work. So let's envision this. So if this comes to the right, it has to come down, forcing this to come like that. And then how do you fill 6 cells in this region? You can't. There's not enough room. So point being, that does not there. So this cannot go. This cannot go up since it can't connect there. Oops. So that's an X. So that forces this loop end to connect that way. So this can't go right. And I don't think the loop end could enter this way because, again, you wouldn't be able to hit 6 cells because you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, either 5 that way or 5 that way, but you would not be able to get both of those. So loop can't go in that way. It has to go straight. It hits a corner, it bends. This loop end's entered the 6 cell region, so it has to connect with its buddies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's either going to be one of those. So now this 1 cell region's complete, so that's not it. This is now a corner, it has to bend down. This 1 cell region is complete, so that we've X'd that cell out, and now we know the orthogonally adjacent cells have to be filled in. That helps because now that gives us our 6th cell in that region. So the loop has to go like that. This is a corner, so it enters that way. Can't go towards the 8, so it comes down. Now this loop end has to come into the 8 like that, and there you have it. That was a long video, probably not the cleanest one to share with you guys. Perhaps I should have picked an easier country road puzzle to share with you, but that's a country road. That's how it works. A lot of fun. I like them. I think they're challenging. I do find these loop-based puzzles a little bit tougher than a lot of the numbers-based puzzles, at least for me. Let me know what you guys think. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.